Hello YouTube, I'm back again with another Duel video. I've been waiting, it's been a week since I did one because I had other issues to pursue, as well as I want to take a break from doing Duel videos because I did them like consistently, like for I did like 4, 5, 6 duels in a row that I've been posting on YouTube. And let me just get straight to the point. I am playing a branded Despia Bystial deck. As you see from my hand, I'm up against Dinomorphia. This was gonna be we were gonna do 2 games, but it's actually gonna be 3 to help my opponent figure out how to utilize his deck, because Dinomorphia is one of those decks where you actually end up taking a high risk for a high reward, as you'll see from his set cards. And the reason why I say that, because you have to lose a lot of life points in order to get access to your stronger and more broken Dinomorphia monsters. I wouldn't say they're broken, but like to get your overwhelming monsters to help to go and pursue the opponent. And for a minute I thought he was fusing with my Ecclesia, so he did activate that in response to its effect. But the reason why I did it, in case he's to send Ecclesia to the graveyard, because I can't use her effect during the battle phase, so I'm forced to use it during the main phase, so I can at least have access to Albaz, as you see right now. So this is gonna be a back and forth duel, but like for several turns, not much is gonna happen because it is a stalemate, as we pretty much can't do anything until one of us is going to attack or actually activate a card. Because what I mean stalemate, yeah, my opponent could take advantage of the duel, but he decides not to use the effect to weaken my monster, because because he only has one monster field, so he doesn't want to risk it. He tries to wait until he sets more cards so that he feels confident enough that he can beat me. So a lot is going on. He's banishing, sending, shuffling to go into Rex turn. So this is a card that's gonna be the most trouble, even though it has less attack than Gina. Kentre Gina. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Kentre Gina, yeah. So I'm actually gonna fuse with Kentre Gina. And I can resolve Albaz because it's less than 2,000, and that's the effect that I worry the most. Because if his life points are less and my monsters have equal or greater attack than his life points, then I can't activate their effects. Which I say the fair enough, so obviously the reason why he doesn't pursue using his quick effect, because Mirjay can pretty much be able to banish his Rex term, so obviously I can't. I forgot about that. So what he's trying to do is ensure that I don't use Mirrorjade's effect, because even if he weakens my monster, Mirrorjade will be able to activate its quick effect by sending a Fallen Abyss monster a fusion monster that requires a Fallen Abyss as a fusion material from my extra deck to the grave, and banishing his Rex turn without targeting. So, and like I said, this is going to be like a stalemate duel, so, and not too much happens until one of us decides whether we're going to attack or use a card effect. So from here I'm just going to proceed with 2 face downs, and he'll end off with Domain again. Or no, he can only activate it once per turn. I'm not even sure if he did activate Domain, but unless he triggered one of his fusions by banishing Domain and then it becomes its effect, that may have been the case that I have not noticed. So either way, he's going to pay half his life points to fuse. It only shows that it's a trap, although you get to fuse from your deck as well as hand, pretty much anywhere besides the graveyard. That this card is basically a card that you always like drawing into, even though you cannot use it on your first turn. So he's always gonna have this guy. He's always gonna have her just in case, or this guy. But again, I kind of lost track of what traps he utilized. I forgot this is the first time he used it. Because they have so many traps that they have more traps than monsters because you're not sure like which card he even activated because considering how many the number of traps that compared to the number of monsters they have in the main deck. Since there's only two, like basically only two in the main deck that you gotta max out on. So he's gonna end it there. I'm sorry, he could have attacked with Kentrigina or Kentrigina. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that either way, but I'm gonna go into banishment. But I think he knows I have my two face downs, and which is smart. I'm just gonna get rid of the one that has the most attack. And no, it wasn't because I didn't. It's not because I didn't want to get rid of Rexturn. It's the fact he channeled lands that I forgot because it means that Rexturn will be unaffected by banishment, so I can fuse using banishment. So from here on out, I have no choice but to use Kentrigina, his Kentrigina as fusion material, which I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fusion some for Masquerade just in case, and I draw to Regained. So DP, so he has a. I'm waiting. Yeah, he has to banish it. Wait, just to confirm. And main phase, I activate Regained just in case. It is a scary card, I'll be honest. But to be fair, let's just fast forward because not much is gonna go on. I can't use this effect until something happens. Yeah. And then in phase, I'll use Expulsion. He'll change Solid Judgment. And use Branded in red to fuse with two monsters from my hand. Use Regain's effect, shuffling the Albaz, or I mean the Edgem Chain to my deck. No, bottom deck. I draw one. Like I said, this is a back and forth duel right now. He's gonna attack it to my Masquerade. He's gonna use the Lord of the Heavenly Prison to protect his back row. He's gonna do the same thing again, protect his back row again. But he could have summoned it off. And he's gonna destroy my chain, which will trigger chain's effect. I don't know, I'm not to see the point of him getting rid of his own best monster. But it gives me opportunity to fusion, so he's giving me an advantage as well. He's gonna use his Diplos. That's fine. He's gonna fuse again. That's fine, cool. I'm gonna go into Magnamod, as you see right now. That's fine, sure. Though Rexturn goes back to extract and I draw one. Instead, he's gonna continue the fusion. I don't even care if he goes into Rexturn because I'm just waiting him to like basically get rid of his resource, like remove most of his life points, deduct a lot of his life points, and then he'll force it to game himself. So, and apparently, unfortunately, he accidentally committed suicide, and we decided to go rematch. I think that was the mistake. That's why we did 3 games. If I recall, the reason why we did 3 games because he made us make him the first duel, and he pretty much committed suicide. So, in the next 2 games, it's going to be a lot different. So. Like I said, the risk that you play, even though it's a high risk, high reward deck, it's not worth paying that many life points. Because if they have a card effect that basically depletes your opponent's life points, pretty much game for you. Like Hinotama, any card like Trick Stars, Wave Motion Cannon, even though Wave Motion Cannon is very slow, or Poison of the Old Man, or the Cauldron of Old Man, whatever. So he's gonna, like I said, he's gonna pay half his life points to negate Lubellion, but I'm gonna chain with opening. That's cool. That's fine. He's gonna negate opening. That's fine. Sure. That will trigger chain's effect. It will still resolve because they're sent from the hand to the graveyard. So I'll get my patchwork just in case I want to fusion summon more. Alright, that's cool. So I'm waiting him to actually access his fusion ones. But look at the amount of resources he has. Yeah, he has more resources in graveyard, but not enough on his field. So at this point, I have a chance of breaking his board a lot more. It'll be a lot less complicated now. So it'll be a lot more easier because he's not playing too many back row cards. So that's what I was waiting for him to use up most of his back row cards. Even though it would have been nice to draw to even match, but I don't side in this duel because it just seems completely unfair, and it's only for competitive reasons, unless I'm going locals or I'm actually playing at regionals. So from here on out, he's going to chain with Kentrigina's effect, and it becomes one trap card that he banishes becomes this card's effect. Or he decides to take it back. That's fine. So this is his final set card is Solemn Judgment. So I was waiting for him to do that just in case. And I don't think this duel will take too long. I'm just gonna go play Fusion, Branded Fusion. He's gonna negate Lubel, which is cool. I discard Albaz with its effect, and then I use Tragic Social Luber. And then he emits to defeat from here on out. So yeah, not a long duel like compared to the last one. This will be the final game to determine whether this won't really entirely be the final game, depending if my opponent beats me. Either way, it should have been because he pretty much nuked his life. He pretty much depleted all his life points first game. So at this point, I pretty much already taken care of this match. So because either way, whether this duel will belong to me or not, I've matched defeated 2 in a row. So because it's usually it's usually best out of like 3. So. But I want to give him a chance to actually see what his deck is capable of, unless if he can manage to do specific combos or pretty much make this deck viable. So waiting, like I said, just waiting to set all those 5 cards. The last duel, he pretty much had barely any boards because the whole point was I had to force him to use his back row in order to make his board even smaller. That way it becomes easier for me to handle his field as well as handle his monsters, because that's what he's so dependent on, is set back row. Whether it's a spell traps or it's a flip effect monster, but usually you're not gonna see flip effect monsters, so because they're not as relevant as they were compared to like old school. So and you never want to see them because the opponent has several ways of getting rid of them, and you can't chain them during your opponent's turn unless they flip them face up during battle. So like I said, he's already depleting most of his life points, which is definitely the result of it, which is definitely the reason why it costed him the duel. So both matches, as well as why it's going to cost him this duel as well. But this is also the main reason why, even though he needs to pay a lot of life to get access to powerful creatures, as well as play more back row, which I kind of respect, but you don't want to take the chance of taking at least 1 battle damage or 1 card effect damage, because that itself, you only have 1 chance to actually defeat the opponent. And then the moment they hit your life points, or because the least they ever hit the opponent for is 100 life points. So if you had 100 or half of 100 points, it would have been a game over, and it would have been that much easier to pretty much expose the opponent. So because he not only did he get rid of so many resources, not only did he get rid of so many resources, he had to set a lot of his cards. He could not be able to utilize them going first turn because he has to wait during the opponent's turn to actually be able to do something. So, and that's what pretty much costed him both those games, which is going to cost him this duel. So it's not really worth the risk. But again, that's how Dinomorphias are as an archetype, and that's their strategy. But at the same time, their strategy puts them at a huge disadvantage. As you can see right now, he is a scary boy. So let's fast forward here. I'm gonna end it in this turn. You're gonna see why. So I'll take the 5 iron. That's fine. Still my battle phase. Use Diplo's effect. It's cool. I'll go brand red, and at this point it's game. It's already game, so that's fine. It's already game, so it wouldn't have mattered. And again, he did make in this duel. It looked like he had an amazing performance, but the result was he could barely do any damage to me. He was still having to pay most of his life points, and that's the thing with this deck is that it's only good because you want to kill because Yu-Gi-Oh you want to kill your opponent a lot more quicker. But the issue was that he just he didn't do it any sooner. He did during my turn, and that's what gave me the advantage. Because if he did it during my part, even because like I said, trap cards you have to set them first before you activate them. But at the same time, he managed to summon a very powerful board, but he wasn't able to deal me any battle damage because he did it too late. And although they possibly can compete, this deck will lose relevancy because it just isn't capable enough of having that first boards have that first setup. Just setting all those cards because if your opponent activates evenly matched when you have no way of negating besides Solemn Judgment, because you need ways of actually getting disrupting cards that can blow up cards on the field, whether it's Lightning Storm, Harpy's Feather Duster, evenly matched, or whatever card I didn't mention, or that negate traps, then you're pretty much done for, and then it would have been all for nothing, especially as just pretty much making it easier for the opponent, like getting rid of almost all your life points, basically. Taking all that risk and then just, even though you're getting a bigger board, they still have a chance of beating you because all it takes is one battle damage or one card effect damage, and that's the advice I'm trying to give to the opponent so they can be aware. Because it may be worth it, but with how big this game has gotten, if they draw into a card that can pretty much help them make a comeback, that can help them turn this duel around, all they need to take is activate a card that the opponent can't respond to and just deal one damage. And now that's all it takes because of that one card, as well as the monster that's going to carry them for the duel. When it doesn't have to be their best monster, it could be the monster that's already in their main deck that they don't use to set up for the extra deck. And that's the point I'm trying to make. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I managed to win 3 in a row. Like, it wouldn't really come off as a surprise because even though he did catch him by surprise with all these monsters, it was just obvious that he was just wasting. He was just pretty much getting rid of too many of his life points, and he was just depleting a lot of those points. It may have been worth it, but not for the price of losing. But overall, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later in the future. Be sure to check your notifications, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.